I was like, oh, I've never done that before.
Yep.
Podcast City Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Deathmatch Russell Podcast. Let's get it on!
Come into the ring, step into the fire, see what you want, baby. If your heart has desire, get up, get knocked down. Deathmatch Russell Podcast, Deathmatch Russell Podcast, Deathmatch Russell Podcast.
And good evening, everyone. You're listening to another episode of the Deathmatch Russell Podcast. And my guest tonight is Commissioner Malfy of Grindhouse Pro Wrestling. How you doing tonight?
Doing all right, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good for what is tonight. What the hell's tonight? I don't even know what. Monday night? Tuesday night? I can't know.
Monday night?
Monday night, the snow has killed me, from all the snow we've had. That snowstorm that we just had through, but it's nice. It's melting, which is a good thing.
Well, they're saying we got another one on the way around Thursday or Friday, so I hope it misses us because it's just getting ridiculous with all the snow. I'm ready for the warm weather.
Yeah, I'm a snowboarder, so I'm used to it, but I gave it up, I'm retired. I retired. Me and my old man retired. I mean, just because we love going skiing and I like boarding, head up to the mountaens, up to
it's always
Vermont.
cool to watch. I love the X Games.
Yeah.
I just don't like the code.
Well, for years, my dad and I would do trips up to Killington for my birthday. Like February 14th, Valentine's Day, of course. I would always, 21, we would just keep on going and going and going. But then we stopped.
What did you ever do any professional stuff?
No. I was just a goofball whacker, just goofy, having fun, crazy, going, down the slopes, being a wild guy.
It's always fun, especially when you're doing stuff that you love.
Absolutely. But anyway, besides that, what's going on with you? How you doing?
Well, we're fresh off of Rumble. Yeah. It was an awesome night. We had a huge turnout. Aaron Williams snuck off with Kevo's title, and so we don't know what's going on right now with our title. Aaron Williams has it, so hopefully Kevo can track him down and get it back.
Yeah, Kevin. I'll tell you what, Aaron Williams really can capture the moment, and he's always a guy that can be. He's a sneaky son of a bitch, that's for sure.
But he's very talented.
Yes, he is. Yes,
he had a really great match. Both of them did good last night. Mm-hmm. We had some ladies in the Rumble match. They did great. Sexy J, it really wasn't his night. But at the end of the night, we had a winner in the professional Clayton Canyon, and so we'll see what happens down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I say, you could always bring them on I'd love to have them if you could come on my podcast. Any professional wrestler, you could. They gives them a chance to speak out and tell their stories as well.
I'm pretty sure they'd be more than willing to be on. They're all a great group of guys.
And ladies, of course.
Females. Yes, and ladies.
Yes, cannot leave the ladies out. That's because they're part of the show, and that's what makes wrestling. You have to have the ladies.
Wrestling has really took off. I really enjoy where it's went. To see how it was back in my era of watching it, which was Hulk Hogan and Austin and all of them, to watch where it's grown.
But let me ask you this, James, and I'm sure you're really proud of her, a young Billy Starks.
Oh yes, we're very, very proud of her.
She has come a long way from where she first came out, and did her thing, and just know where she's at, and she's on the East Coast doing her thing with the Game Changer and H2O, really showing the world who she is. We're proud of her.
And she made a big return for her home last night, and she did very, very well. Her first competitor that she touched hands with was Alice Crowley, and there's a lot of history between them two, and it was really cool to see them back in a grindhouse ring.
Yeah, she puts the work like it's no tomorrow. We're just proud of her. She really is the future of the business and going to go far, big time.
I'm anxious to see where she goes. I keep on watching it, and all the things that she's done so far have been headlining, trending, and I can't wait to see which company grabs her and takes her on to being one of the biggest goats in our business, because that's truly what she is. She knows what she's doing. She's been trained by some of the best. She's got a lot of good people telling her the right things, and she's going to be big. She's going to be up there with Ruby and Charlotte, all of them. I think that we'll see her on that TV very, very soon.
And if not, we'll see her against Alley Catch or Ruby on the indie scenes. You never know. As well, because
she's got big things planned for her, and yes, she does a lot of good matches on the indies, but I don't see her staying in the indies very, very much longer. I look for her to be in the big leagues very soon.
Yeah, but hey, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's what we always say. But the show must go on.
Right.
But you've had a lot of talent come out of there that's been seen on TV, and we know a lot of faces, and it's amazing what comes out of the grindhouse. I've seen a lot of talent progress over the years. Like you said, Aaron Williams was like an original.
What's one of your favorite matches that you've seen of ours?
I could go through a lot of them. There's so many matches. You've had plenty of matches with Tankman on there. I know that. Cole Radrick. A lot of Cole Radrick is one of my my go-to guys. He's real people underrated, but he's talented.
Very talented guy. I watched his match on GCW, and I feel like that he was one of the best matches on the card that night.
Yeah, he always puts up 100% on what he does every time, which is really good.
What's some of your stuff that you like that we've done, like storyline wise?
Storyline, what I kind of like. Just keep to the side and watch out whatever that catches my eye. That's really gonna stand out. There's like Aaron Williams stories goes on. You're talking like also Billy's storyline as well, and other people that I've been studying tapes. Like I watched the matches, and they're really some good matches. And people, I show my good friend out of Florida. He's like, "Holy shit, this is good,"
We've had people watch us from Australia. Yes. And I think it's pretty cool how big of a stretch we've gotten in the time that we've been in the business. And I love our fan base. I love everything that we've achieved so far.
How long has Grindhouse been? When did Grindhouse first come around?
About 2014, 2015. We started off just doing like little shows, like one-offs and whatnot, and then once our first round of students had gotten seasoned and they wanted a show, so we created a show called Rise, and it was really huge. On that night, we saw Zachary Dayton Pittman taking on Rudy Switchblade. He got crowned our first champion. We saw the group of KTK, which had Freddie Hudson in it.
There's another guy who's really talented as well. My gosh, shout out to him. Freddie Hudson is. People don't realize these names, man, are names that will be seen everywhere on TV. You never know, as well.
Oh yeah, like one of the things growing up that I've realized as now an adult is like we watched OVW all the time, and every now and again we'd see those guys go up to the big name and go to WWE and hit SmackDown and whatnot, and it was always cool that you got to rub elbows with them before they ever went to the big name.
It's like Maria James, Amazing Maria's daughter, Hollywood, was an OVW, and she had her time on TV as well. She got a little TV spot on Dark.
Oh, and she's still going up. Like I see Hollywood. She's gonna be Hollywood very, very soon. I've seen her do so much, and we're so proud of her as well.
Yeah, she's one of the good ones. Shout out to both of them. Love them all. Love the Mary Jane. When I was a ring announcer, one of my favorite times to introduce somebody was for Maria. It was so awesome because she would get so many more monikers under her belt. Her death matches, she put the test of time on those, and she would win them, and she would put the guys in their place. Her and Mickey James. I love watching their matches, watching what they've done in life. Mickey Knuckles is a good one as well, especially in death matches. Some of her matches, I've been like in the screen, just like, I can't believe that she's doing some of these moves. And I mean, it was hot. I've watched a little bit of death matches. I cannot say that I am 100% a big death match guy, so I don't know a whole lot of history on it, but I know a little bit. I was gonna say you probably remember like the old time death matches from like the Terry Funk days. That's about and Cactus Jack.
Cactus Jack, and really, honestly, the only reason why I knew about those though was because of the big name showing what Cactus Jack had done in previous times. And so I never really truly knew much, and I actually get schooled a lot.
And plus Terry Funk as well, because he was a wrestler, and then he just did that as a stepped it up in the game like Dusty Rhodes, like all three guys, put it that way,
funny story about Terry. I didn't know nothing about him until he came out as Chainsaw Charlie. When he came out as Chainsaw Charlie,
when he did that gimmick. When he did that gimmick, yes, I forgot about that gimmick in WWE when he did that. Chainsaw Charlie was popular, yeah.
Those dumpster matches were something.
Yeah, the way that he could tell a story about with that, and how you'd just wrestle anybody just to get attention for the but he made a name for himself.
Yeah, there's so many names, and with I'm glad that we have the networks.
Let me ask you this, James. Growing up, what was it like for you as a wrestling fan? Growing up as a kid.
I loved watching Shawn Michaels, him and Dusty and Ric Flair. They were so good on the mic that they would suck me in. I was a child of the home of the innocent, so I really didn't get to have much of the outside influences.
TV,
so when I get to watch
TV,
the matches with my staff members, like it would really take me, and I loved the stories that they would tell, WrestleManias, and then when DX showed up on the scene, just so much of it just really influenced me to where I got sucked into it.
What was your first time going to a show?
That's a good one.
Wow, right?
Ground Zero. I went to Ground Zero and I watched Undertaker take on Diesel. I think it was Diesel. No, it was Brett. And the way that Shawn screwed him,
and to see the audience and to see everything, it's like, wow, this is really like you don't.
Well, and those were the days of the sets. where they had all those sets that they would do, and that was the house. And, like I miss those days of people creating those little sets where it took you into what the theme of the show was. Because I think that's honestly what sucked me into it, was the way that they got you on the way they told the stories.
Yeah, that's like me, growing up. I was lucky. I got I still have it till this day. I always show off my prized possessions. As a kid, my dad took me to Atlantic City, New Jersey, and we went to WrestleMania 5 in Atlantic City.
It's nice.
And I always tell the story how we're sitting up in the nosebleeds, way up top, looking down, and 5 rows next to us on commentary, Jesse the Body and Gorilla Monsoon. I was excited for moments like that, it's like, and then to go listen to the ring from down below, you're looking down with binoculars and you hear the thump of the microphone next to the ring, because that was really, how they did it back then. I never knew that, like when they could thump on the mat, the microphone would be there to pick up the sound.
I was talking to my boss the other day about wrestling, and he said, what killed it for me was when they did that thing and they showed, some of the stuff, and they showed the ring microphones and all that. He was like, I actually thought that they were that powerful when they, was hitting each other, that they was making all those sounds. And he never understood why they put those microphones there. And I never understood it.
I didn't, but it was
when you go to an indie show, you don't see that. There's no microphones underneath those rings. And the guys are going through and actually having matches. Like, to me, the indie shows is way better than WWE because of the microphone thing, like for a kid, that would wind up getting it ruined because of things like that, where people are so negative about the business. The business is very, very good, and kids love it. Adults still love it if they got sucked in the right way. If somebody tried to kill you on it, it kind of messed you over on it. But luckily, I never had nobody down the wrestling business until I became an adult. So I always 100% was in there just loving it. Like it, like how you had your moment where they signed your ticket. My moment for that was at Freedom Hall. They would all come through where basically they walked the horses during the Kentucky State Fair. And they had it all caged off to where we could not go in that area. But all the wrestlers were coming up and were talking to us. This was when the Hardy Boys finally had started getting a name for themselves. And RVD and Jeff started kind of messing around with each other, giving us a little bit, and was teasing each other. And Jeff did a swanton onto the car while they were, doing their match later on that night. I don't think it ever even made TV.
No.
They did a lot of stuff that never made TV, and I wish that they would show those matches.
Yeah.
I didn't get tickets to that show, so I know that match happened, but I watched it back there. But I never got to go to that show, and I think that was the Raw where Austin got busted open by Undertaker.
Yeah, I used to go to a lot. I used to just go to a lot of house shows because that was popular. House shows for the WWE were so popular and cheap back, for their good range. And I'd go down to Asbury Park, or not Asbury. I'd go to Meadowlands. I'd go to Meadowlands, or the Meadowlands or Madison Square Garden once in a while to see a wrestling show. I'd take the trip, and I actually seen like Eugene goofing around, picking on Ric Flair, like that's classic. And then you don't have, and going to Atlantic City one year, I'll never forget it. Howard Finkel, I'm sitting like 8th row, and Howard Finkel's on the mic, and I'm just like laughing at him. Hey, Howard, how are you? Hey, how are you? I'm doing good tonight. You just don't get that from the crowd interaction. And then like to see a cage match for like a WWE house show, you're like, wow, this cage really is smaller than it looks on TV. Because I saw the John Cena versus Chris Jericho, and I'm like, wow, you know.
Have you noticed, and maybe it's just me, but the ring looks bigger nowadays on TV than it did when we were kids.
Yeah.
The ring looked way smaller. I beg to think that now it's a 20 by 20, and maybe then it was an 18 by 18.
I think it was. It's amazing how they make the angles of the camera, of the video, the production to look at the ring and make it look bigger. When we go to our indie shows, it's a full regular size ring, but it really looks bigger on TV. It's like, wow, you're like, I mean, if you look like, put it like Game Changer Wrestling when we were at when they were at the Hammerstein, the ECW arena, for that ECW, the Hammerstein Ballroom,
Yeah. And, that it hurt me when they did the reboot of it for WWE and it never had that same nostalgic that it had back when, it first started. And I really kept on hoping that they would bring it back some way, somehow. But talking to the guys and stuff, it would never work under that umbrella ever again. Somebody would have to create kind of like what GCW is doing. Maybe they'll take that banner and run with it.
Yeah, but they have ideas. They have their things, and they announced that they were going to try. They had bad trials for the first one. It's okay. You have mistakes. They had problems with the production and this and that. Everything happens. Sometimes you just have to move on to better things, better ideas, and just brainstorm.
Same happened in Ring of Honor when they first started up. And to be honest with you, they'd probably still be going strong if it wouldn't have been for this pandemic that's going on. The pandemic has really, really, dare say, killed a lot of things and momentum that everybody was going on. We recognized a bunch of our students that had graduated, and we didn't get to do it because the pandemic was going on. And so we brought them all back last night, and it was really cool to have them all back. And a lot of them are still going strong in the business. I don't think not one of them isn't working right now. So that says a lot for the group of girls and guys that not only have came into our doors, but other people's doors as well. You look at those people that you watch start off in their training and then grow into bigger and better characters than what they was when they first started, and it makes you invest in them, and it kind of creates that what we had back in the old days when it comes to our guys and gals that we watch now. I watched DDP, his new thing that he's doing. I love it. The video he was in, I love it, and the interactions that he gets from all of his fans and even his haters, it really makes you go back and love the business even more when you get to train and watch. And I'm not even a trainer, I just watch the kids and watch them grow, and I love being their chess piece that they get to use, whether they can tell me off or get to do contract signing or whatever we get to do together. I love being a part of helping them grow because they help me grow. And like I said, I started off as a referee, then I went on to a ring announcer, commissioner, and I loved it. I've been around for 16 years.
Nope, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. Oh.
Am I good now?
Yes, sir. Sorry about that.
Well, I'm using my cell phone, so my Wi-Fi probably is cutting in and out.
No, from holding it, it's like it's just like shaking.
Oh,
Noise. But yeah. being a commissioner. It's a big job.
Yes, and a lot of responsibility. I'm so glad that everybody enjoyed the show last night, and I hope that I can be instrumental in bringing even more. You know, our next big show that we're gonna have is Rise, and that's like our WrestleMania. So I can't wait to see what all transpires leading up to the road to it, and hopefully we show out like we always do when it comes to our Rise shows. Is we've had summer sweat fests. So anytime you're in our area, come and check us out, man. And we love to have you.
Absolutely. If I ever take a summer trip. Yep.
We got maybe come down for our Derby festivals that we're gonna have in the last week of April leading into May. We always have our shows on Sundays, and it's always the last Sunday of the month. So, that would be around the time of Derby as well. Maybe you could roll in and watch those thoroughbreds, and then come and see them.
Or maybe the next season. I'm going to a cabin. Going to a cabin in May. I booked a cabin for May, so I'm not doing any wrestling in May. Me and my old man going to go fishing. That's what we planned.
Where are you going to your cabin at?
We are going to Lake Harmony, up in the Catskills. Real nice. Up there,
Beautiful.
up there, actually, Big Boulder and Jack Frost. It's real nice. Right on the lake. Got to find a little cheap little three person house rental. Yeah. So just did that for a couple days. So
I love camping out and doing stuff like that. It's always fun to get in with nature. One day I'm gonna have to have Isaiah take me on his retreat and disconnect from the world and do it the way he does it for a little while. And you never know what nature's gonna give you.
Isaiah, I remember having him on podcast a long time ago. Wow, see, look at that. I get people I've had on the show. It's amazing, huh?
He was very instrumental in having me being able to be in the business. If it wasn't for him and Rick Brady and Two Tuck Tony, I don't think I'd be where I am today. So I owe my entire career to them. I was always setting up rings. I was never getting my opportunity. And
it's hard. I'll tell you what, it's those rings. I'll tell you what, I've done it. It's heavy. Yes, it's hard. It's a lot of grind.
They're very heavy, and when those ropes break, you gotta watch out sometimes.
But if you ever watch, some of the buildings that they've done for Ring of Honor, like New York City. Now there's staircases. Don't forget, they're not like hallways. They're back door, ground floor warehouse doors at the bottom level. You had to climb up 6 flights of stairs just to. I never knew that. That's amazing. Like in New York City.
I heard that, and they even said that that's how they was doing it with Raw back in the days when they would do Manhattan Center, I think it was.
Yes, yeah.
They would have to do that, and it's just amazing. Different areas in the state, they all do things differently, and it's just amazing to see even those older buildings on how they used to be able to put on shows. It's amazing.
And to see the art, the art of the building is phenomenal. Like the structures, like the theaters, a lot of theaters. Back in the day, it was a lot of theaters. Also, if you noticed,
yes,
but
and entertainment was a big thing back then too. And now you dare say it's still a big thing nowadays because look, we all hold a thing in our hand and walk around. So in a sense, it's still what it's supposed to be, but it's not as entertaining sometimes as it used to be. You'd get sucked in easier back in the day. So much.
You had places where look where Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash or Frank Sinatra. Come on, or Patti LaBelle. These are the places that they had wrestling at. Think about it. like you
Right.
know, like built famous buildings. You know, even Atlantic City's popular for a lot of the music that the area, the mid pop era. You know, the jukebox era of rock and roll. Yeah, growing up.
Uh, I like seeing when celebrities get involved in our stuff. It's cool.
Mhm.
Uh,
It is.
I don't know if it made you pop, but it made me pop when Macaulay Culkin did his Home Alone thing to
Mm.
I can't remember the guys, but
Mm.
it
Yeah.
made me
Oh
pop.
yeah. Oh, that guy when he. Oh yeah, that Joey Ryan guy when he was there. Yeah, yeah. I remember that was popular. Yeah.
I just hope maybe one day he does something more than just that one little spot, because just listen to the stories that Freddie Prinze says about how diehard Macaulay Culkin is with wrestling.
Mhm.
You know, most of us diehard fans, we always wind up, doing something. So hopefully that wasn't just a one off and we wind up seeing him do more.
Absolutely. Yeah. You never know. I mean, we've had David Arquette, and look where he's done. He's done wrestling. He's done it in the past for.
Well, and he used to get so much heat for
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that he had done, and a lot of people didn't realize it wasn't on him. It wasn't like he went up and said, "Hey, I want to be the champion of WCW." That was just the bookers and the things that was going on then, and they put him up against somebody, and he happened to win the match, and then fans just kind of went off on him, and he didn't ask to be in the match.
No.
It just kind of happened to him. So, and that's the way life is. Sometimes life gets you, and you either get up and dust yourself off and roll with the punches, or you sit there and kind of do that with your head down, and you ain't gonna go nowhere.
No. And then you look back and you think about that night was very special because somebody's dad was watching his son wrestle. Luke Luke Perry's was Jungle Boy, and his father was there watching him during that show. You got
And
to see
just to look at that, though, like look at where his dad was
I
before
know.
his dad passed away, and Jungle Boy, I guarantee you, there ain't not one person that can't say he ain't made his father proud of him.
No, because
Like,
he
look
had
at all the accolades that he's done.
because Jungle Boy had friends like Marco Stunt who really showed him the way. Shout out
Yes.
to Marco Stunt.
Marco,
Shout out to
I tell you what, the first time I met
Yes.
him was at a hooligan show in St. Louis. And funny story about that, when I introduced him, I had to be Jimmy Hart for the night, and I had a megaphone, and I'd never used a megaphone ever. So it started squealing, and Marco came over and picked on me, and I don't even know if there's a video of that or not. But it was fun. And that night he went up on the rafters and did a big old flip, and I think he won the match, to be honest with you. But it was him, the hooligans was in it. But it was a really good night. And it was just in a little bar out there. And they drew a big crowd. Like it was a great night. I kind of came out of my comfort zone that night, and I enjoyed it. Because normally I go through this area, and I don't really kind of branched out. So, a guy that I was hanging around at the time told me to stop being a baby and branch myself out. You never know if you can get a booking. Just go to the show. And so I went to the show, and they knew that I was announcing for Grindhouse, and he was like, "Do you want the opportunity?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." And I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but Marco, his moment was that Game Changer when he first popped, jumped over the rail as a fan and proved who he was. He just a small town boy from, Olive Branch, Mississippi, doing small wrestling indie shows for, but he made his dream come true and became top on the scene and still is. He's doing good for himself. So what if he's going to be? He has the shine. on TV. Yeah, they're gonna let him go. Yeah, it's a shame, but you know what? He's smart, and he's gonna stick with what he does best because he also has a good voice as well for music.
Right. And I mean, there's a lot of cuts going on right now, and it's not because you're not talented. It's just because of money and whatnot, and it's a shame. But at the end of the day, he'll be back. Whether it's with AEW, whether it's with TNA, there's so much, and that's what's so good about this era of wrestling. There's so much for you to do. Back when I was a kid, Vince was pretty much tearing everybody down, so there wasn't a whole lot that you got to do. So when WCW folded up, there was just the Indies and Vince. So to see that the landscape has changed and gotten better for everybody, and all the boys are getting to work and all the ladies are getting to work, and to see where the ladies have went, and the ladies can keep on going, to be honest with you. There's so much more that the women can do. I can't wait to see it. And I hope that, one day we can actually have the shows where it's just for the women, like we still have those, there's, shows out on the indies, you got Girl Fight and
you got Mission Pro. You got Mission Pro by Thunder Rosa. Shout out to her for that, because
you also had a Slimmer still around.
Shimmer,
Shimmer.
I think, I believe it is still going. I'm not sure where.
They had a lot of good talent that came out of there as well.
Yeah, it's like the WSU from Combat Zone Wrestling. WSU was the women's division. And that was
didn't Ring of Honor have a women's show too?
They did a lot of women's shows. Yeah, they would mix it up with the women's division. Yeah.
I thought I remembered that, but there's so much that goes on anymore. To be honest with you, I Malfy it a lot, and I won't remember it. So people have to remind me sometimes. But I enjoy everything that I see, and I just can't wait for. Wrestling has always done things in waves, and I think that wrestling is now back up on its climb to do like it did in the 90s with the Attitude Era, and I just can't wait to see what all happens. You got guys like Zack Ryder, who he's revamped himself. Look at everything he's doing, and I mean, I just can't wait to see. Like I'm a big fan again. I was kind of losing hope there for a little while on, what was going on with the companies, because a lot of people wasn't using their talent like they should,
No, and to see guys like Double J, Jeff Jarrett back in the scene, it's like, what the heck? It's like,
well, it took a lot of talent to basically say, you know what, we're not getting used the way that we need to get used, and let's create our own shows, and that's what happened. DJ Hyde. That's what he did, and look what he did for everybody.
Yeah, and they're trying it again, and whatever. I don't know.
Now you got Too Tough Tony. He's done what he's done for the business, and Too Tough Tony has done a lot in the business. I mean, he's been big in death matches, big in storylines. He was on TNA.
It's like the bulldozer Matt Tremont. Give him big props because he runs a school. He runs a promotion. And that's why I'm saying, like, Billy Starks is always welcome with her, and a lot of talent comes out and shows, which is really great.
What are your top 5 guys?
Top 5 guys on which show?
On anything right now. Like, who do you think steals the show for you every single time, no matter where they're at?
Where they are at?
Work for multiple organizations, or they can be at one organization.
How about Nick Wayne?
Okay.
How about Tony Deppen?
Okay.
How about Jordan Oliver?
Okay.
Cole Roderick? AJ Gray? Oof. And what do we got? What are we up to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Is that no?
That was it. That was it. Now what about your ladies?
Oh, Thunder Rosa, of course. But I'd say there's so many talented females. Alley Catch.
Okay.
You have, oh boy, holy shit! There's so many girls that I could go off the.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's so
Yeah.
much talent out there now. You can't
Yeah.
never really have a true top 5, you know? Back
Yeah.
when we were growing up, you
Yes.
literally could do that. You can't
Yeah.
do that no more. These
No.
guys and gals, they go at it and they give you the best that they have in them, and it shows nowadays, you know?
Okay, who's your top 5? Ooh, let's see.
So for the men,
Yeah.
I've really like my top guy that I've really got behind is John Moxley.
Mhm.
You know, John Moxley, to watch his entire career of where he went, I mean, just amazing. You know,
Yeah, and look where he is today, and he still has the championship. Shout out to him.
he still innovates himself too. You know,
And we're proud
then
of him. So he
Cole,
had to take some
Cole's
time
one
off.
of my guys. You know,
Yes.
he was at Grindhouse for a little while. He did a tag team with us, and you know,
With
the way
Sage.
that he tells
With
his stuff.
him and Sage. Did you know
Yeah,
that?
and he
Did you?
ran around with the Cole County Crusher as well.
Did you? Here's a story about Cole and Sage. Well, 1 year Game Changer did their very first show, you know, at the Howell place in New Jersey. And the promoter asked me, my friend Brett called me up, David, I have a couple of guys from the Mid-South areas that are going to be in town for the wrestling show. Would you mind helping me out hosting them? Absolutely. So they came and stayed over me at my house. Reed Bentley and John Wayne Murdoch, Homeless Jimmy, and Sage and Cole Radrick. How about that? So I had like a whole house full of wrestlers enjoying my pool, just going swimming, and just, you know, just a little summer because they never seen that shit before, you know?
Speaking of Reed, I watched a match in person and he came back from it later on, but he had a really bad injury, and I'm so proud to see where he's went from that. You know, a lot of people when they get those big injuries, a lot of times it knocks them
I know.
completely out of it, and they never come back.
No,
And
that's like
to
John.
see him
That's like
make his comeback, he did very well for himself.
that's like John. John too. You know, John was like that too. He had that scary armpit light tube injury, but Reed had that bad gash from the chair shot. That's the one you're talking about.
Yes, and
Yes.
that just for that, you know, it screams. That's what I'm saying. You know, about the talent these days.
Mhm.
You're obviously, no matter what, if ever asked that question, you're always going to have somebody say, well, why don't you thank me? But at the time, you're just thinking, you know, you're always going to be put on the spot with that. So you really can't tell nobody anymore, you know? Like, I really have to grasp, just like you did, on the guys and the gals, you know? And I just, with the guys and gals that I think right now, it's mainly the ones that have just trended, you know, like no matter what, you look on Twitter and you see their names in there. You know what I'm saying? And, you know,
It's
Billy,
like my local.
she's one of them. Alex Crowley, Ruby. You know, I watched her as Heidi, you know, when she was Miss Loveless. You know, and we could go on for days, like you said, on the talent that we have. So
it's like I know it's like my local promotion. We're gonna be it's called Titan Championship Wrestling. This coming February 14th, or not February 12th. We're gonna be honoring the greatest wrestler, 25th year of his career, Ring of Honor vet, also, and Jersey All Pro vet, Monster Mac. I mean, we're going to bring in talent that he's wrestled with over the years, and new talent, new kids, new people. It's just great to see different variety of wrestling, you know, for the new generation to come around. And some names have been on TV, which is good to get shine, you know, for the AEW Dark. That's good. That's good, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting so much time right now. I love that AEW is doing that for people. You know, you got Shauna Reed, You know, she's been doing a lot with them. Charlie
Yeah.
Cruel, one of our
Yes.
alumni, you know, she's been doing a lot. Just to see what everybody's doing right now. They're all trend setting. They're all doing great. You know, so just imagine what you're seeing now. Take that, give it about 5 more years, and it's going to be even more over the top. You know,
and my company even has a women's division. We have a women's division. We have a show. It's called the Goddesses of War. We have a lady called Riley Shepard. We have a lady called Vicious Vicky. We have a Charlie Cruel actually came in one year. She got the scare on a helicopter. Something happened with the helicopter ride to the hospital or something, but I forget.
I heard about that.
Yeah. But no, the talent just keeps coming, and it's amazing. And I always say, come on, get a shot. Here's a local company. Come on out, check it out. You know, it's just we all branch off to different. You know, it's
right. And it's cool to see how many have actually stuck around too. You know, like a lot of them that you really didn't know whether they were going to stick around actually stuck around and have given us so much to watch and entertain us with that. You know, I really truly think that wrestling is better now when it comes to talent.
Let me ask you this, James. Do you watch IWTV?
Yeah, I do. I think that's a really good idea that they did.
So much wrestling. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It really is.
And I also do a lot of ads free. I love Conrad Thompson's take on stuff. You know, the way that he tells you everything. You know, and all the podcast guys right now, all y'all are doing great. Y'all give me so much entertainment and knowledge anymore. You know, like listening to yours, I learned a lot. You know, so and I don't know a whole lot about deathmatch. Like I said, you know, I'm a baby when it comes to death matches. I don't know a whole lot. And I will never tell anybody I'm a connoisseur of that. Now, I will tell you I know a lot about 80s wrestling and 90s wrestling. I'm pretty good at that. But, you know, I enjoy it all. Like, I truly enjoy it.
You know what I say, James? And we support professional wrestling. We support independent wrestling. I always say that. It's what we love, really. And we're blessed.
And you have to love it. You have to love it in order to truly understand what's going on, you know.
And not only that, the LGB community as well. We're proud of who we have as wrestlers and people that can perform for us as well. And you know, that's the one thing that people don't realize. There's some gay wrestling out there, and it's awesome. Shout out to Effie. You know, it was the big influencer on that. You know, really.
Also, ain't it Jamie Miller? I've seen a lot of stuff from that person, and they do really well. So you know,
J Rose. Yeah, J Rose.
I don't. That's why I said there's so much going on. I don't get to know everybody's names, but I can. When you say somebody's name, I remember it because of the clip that I seen on either Twitter or YouTube. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's what's good. A lot of people understand now where to put their videos to get seen and get noticed. You know, before it was very hard for you to get noticed. And now there's so much out there. Look at Shane Good, you know, like he does real good. So a lot of people out there do very good with entertaining it and showing you what they have. And I can't wait.
And to bring back the legends and to bring back, you know, just the veterans who've done it, like to see, like, you know, it's just amazing now. It's just like you see, it's just great. It's just really great who they're bringing in. Just for like we just had Scotty Too Hottie recently at a show. You know, come on.
There's been a lot of them here lately. I love that he's back in the ring. I never thought that we would ever get to see him back in the ring.
No, he looks good. He looks good. I mean, as a kid, I mean, as a kid going to a local indie show, yeah, that's who you had on the card. It's like we were special. We were excited to have like this guy come with his partner, Rikishi, at the time when he was, right. He's still around doing his signings and stuff, people coming back. It's like Jarrett coming back. It's like, come on. I remember him when he first started, like watching WCW, his career, and TNA. And then he did a house that I'll never forget. I totally forget about. He actually ran a show with Vince Russo out of North Jersey. It was called NWA Cyberspace Wrestling.
I've never heard of that. See, I told you, I'm always learning. I've never even heard of that.
There was a shit promoter guy. I guess his name was Billy Firehawk at the time, But they brought some talent in. They brought in America's Most Wanted. They brought in Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniel. They would mix it. Jeff Jarrett would wrestle. Abyss Rhino would wrestle. You like Skipper, just like all the names you were like, wow. I'll send you some footage. I found it. I'll send you the YouTube. You'd be like, wow. You could.
Hey, speaking of Rhino, Rhino's a really, really good guy. I got to meet him a handful of times, and always picking his brain for stuff. And the funniest thing that he ever did to me, I wanted to pay for a shirt. And that's what we do. We pay each other for each other's gimmicks because that's how we live the life in the first place.
Yep.
And he had this shirt called Built Rhino Tough. Reminded me of the Ford thing, and it was over with me, and I really wanted one. And I didn't have my money on me. I spent it all because of my daughter. She wanted things for herself. So when it came time to it, oh man, I'll have to catch you next time. And he was like, "Here you go." And I was like, "What's your PayPal?" And when I get home, I'll just send you some money. And he was like, "Just say thank you."
Yeah.
And I wasn't catching that. All he wanted for the payment was to say thank you. And he was a really great guy. And all the things that he's told me, I really, if it wasn't for legends like him to pass on the knowledge, we wouldn't see what we see today.
Yeah. It's like Balls Mahoney or Christopher Candido's rest in peace, shot.
I love Balls Mahoney matches. Those were very entertaining.
Yeah,
they were some of the best. Him, Sandman,
Sabu, of course,
Taz,
Terry Funk when it was originally ECW. Yep, it was just great.
That chair thing. Did you ever get to see that? Like back in the day, because I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know it happened. Later on.
No, I never got into the ECW. I wish I was a fan early on of going to that arena in Philadelphia. I never got a chance to go there to watch like the ECW era, but I did go. There was a promotion and they bring in like Balls Mahoney once in a while, and it was really cool just to see. But to this day, I always show up my chair as a kid, and this is my treasure from Balls Mahoney. Here you go. You see something?
That's sweet.
Locked and loaded. Balls Mahoney.
And he even signed it for you.
Yeah. And a funny story behind Balls. I always tell the story how I was 18 years old as a kid. Okay, working at a dollar store. I didn't know anything. I was working my stock job, stocking shelves, and next door was this big and tall store, the big tall clothing store, right? And this guy comes walking into the dollar store, and somebody said, that guy's he's a wrestler on TV. I'm like, what? Okay. I didn't know anything about ECW till he came in the door, and he started talking to me. It was great.
I caught ECW one night on late night TV when they were on public access, and I could never find it again. So I just didn't know where to find it,
Yeah.
because back then it was very hard to find. So I didn't get back into it until it's got sold to Vince. That's when I got to kind of sort of relive everything because I didn't know how to get it. It was very hard for me to understand because I was in the group homes, though, it was very hard to understand how to get to be able to see it. So I never got to really truly watch it all. I get to relive it through the network. So I didn't get to watch everything.
No. But the midnight, actually also, I got lucky as a kid also, and I always tell a story. Iron Mike Sharp ran a school in my hometown. So I got every Saturday night, I'd go down and watch X-Pac as the 1-2-3 Kid wrestle in the ring, with Roddy Piper's cousin, Bobby Piper, and guys like WCW star Malice would walk in the door. The Wall, aka the Wall, It's just crazy. And then,
what do you think about Warlord? Ain't it Warlord?
Yeah, Warlord.
Yeah. What do you think about him and MJF?
I can't stand MJF. I'm not an MJF guy. I've had my share with MJ over the years at CZW.
Funny story. He spit at my daughter's cousin at an IWA show. And I that was the first time I ever knew about him because the guy that was the father, he messaged me and asked me, did I know this guy? And I'm like, no. And he was like, you don't? And he just did this. And I was like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm sorry. So then I had to go get knowledge on him, And I'm sorry. I'm a fan. I like what he does.
I threw toilet paper at his face, and then it was great. And then one year I put a tweet out, after I chopped him. I got to chop him when Ricky Shane Page had a match with him at CZW, and I got to chop ringside I had the loudest chop of them all.
And then cool when you get to do it to like the wrestler comes through and holds him and lets him smack him.
Yes.
It's so cool when I see the guys doing that, and just to see the fans light up.
The reaction from everybody's face when looking at me when I had the loudest chop. Like really, I laid it into MJF because Ricky really held him good. And but then after that, I got blocked on Twitter for something. I set him up for something for like taking a dump in his house. It was great.
Oh, that sucks.
That's okay.
I got blocked by the Star Maker, so I've been blocked. I don't understand getting blocked. You're just having fun, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but you have to have your shine. Get your face. Got to get ourselves in, our moments. There's plenty of moments where you got to get lost in it.
Oh yeah, that's what's fun about it, though. Like getting lost into the show and enjoying it. And these days it's very hard to be able to do that every single day. It's hard to find things that you can truly get into and sink your teeth into because there's too much content out there for you to really do it. That's what I tell everybody. That's the difference between the eras. You didn't have it all, so it was easier for you to remember it all and sink your teeth into it all. And I don't know. I still think that we can see another with AEW. We could see another war if done right. So I'm hoping, because I told somebody the other day, look at it. It's WCW just with a different name. Everything that's going on is the same that we had in those days. The only difference is AEW's not been around for 50, 25 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't have that name that WCW had because it had, Davy Crockett and everybody merged into its heritage. So
and Jim Cornette and all the other names that were, populating back in the day that were wrestling, from the NWA era to, the Mid South, the Smoky Mountain to this and that, and every promotion that was under the tree of WWE,
Yeah.
To lead
Smoky Mountain was really good. I like going to the Louisville Gardens and watching some of the stuff that Memphis Wrestling would bring up to us, and I got to see Flex Cabana, which is known as The Rock. He was there, and he would do. I think I said it right. Might have said it wrong, but he was doing good things back then, and got signed by Vince, and I didn't even know that was going on. And I as a kid, never understood the dirt sheets and all that, so I didn't know that there was ways for you to find out what was going on for the guy, for the next round and where he was going and stuff like that. So it was always what they would give me, and I
and if I look back also as a kid growing up, I actually went to a promotion. It was called NWF Wrestling, National Wrestling Superstar, or NWF was popular. That had Bruiser Brody. I got to see Bruiser Brody at a young age. I got to see Dr. D. David Schultz.
I'm jealous. I've never gotten to see a match from him.
Mr. Fantastic, the Fantastics, like Wahoo McDaniel, the Strongbows, and the Wild Samoans, of course, off in Sika, So I got spoiled.
I've seen a lot of matches from Brody, but I can never say that I got to actually see him in person to do it.
I saw him in the cage. It was insane. It was great to see him.
And to hear the story around the stuff that happened to him, from how he was taken from us, I just don't like it, and it kind of washes you a little bit, like, did this really happen or did that happen? That Dark Side of the Ring documentary kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit.
Yeah, but to talk, see Dr. D. David Schultz, and actually I had him on the podcast. Like, come on, like, that's cool to get somebody who was making a name for himself, with all that new stuff when he was, way back in the, had his little scuffle with WWE and, way back in the day, WWF. This is crazy, right?
Right. Cool. And to see some of those guys, what they did back then to, like, Dutchman Tell, the things that he did, I didn't even know much about where he was
right
on, like, what he's doing now until he was on a podcast, and I can't remember what it was, but he started talking about the old days and how, the way that stuff was back then for where, for him to understand where he needed to go and what he needed to do. He said, you never really knew where the hot place was until, like, how was it? I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch what he said on that, but they all wound up in Mexico, and that's where it all started going for him, was in Mexico. And then he took off and went into Memphis, and so, it's amazing to, see what they all did back then, and all those matches, especially with, like, NWA and watching the Hard Times stuff with Dusty and, Ric Flair doing the things that he did with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And, you actually, to me, you see that in this generation too with some of the guys. We do have those guys that are Ric Flairs and Dustys, and, they're out there and they're still showing you, but I don't think they get the recognition that they deserve right now. And we'll see that coming very soon for a lot of them.
You know what? I had a really great time talking with you tonight.
I did awesome. Too. And I thank you for letting me have my first experience on a podcast. I've never gotten to do it, so I hope I get to do it more. And if I was lame, I apologize.
No, you're all right. You did good. We killed a lot. We talked about a lot of stuff that wrestling. We talked a lot about wrestling that we were mentioning earlier, and a lot of stuff that we, seen as kids growing up. And it's amazing the different generations, of wrestling can provide for wrestling anywhere,
Right.
But
And I'm excited to see what else is to come. Like I said, I can't wait. There's so much that internet can do for what's going on, especially for wrestling. So I can't wait.
It's gonna burst. It's gonna burst into the scenes, But here's where could everybody reach you on your social media for Grindhouse Pro Wrestling?
Yeah, we also have our website up and going. We're gonna be adding content onto there. We got a lot of things planned, so as long as everybody tunes into that, our next show is the last Sunday of February. Also, if you're in the local area, we're doing a thing with Jet's Pizza right now. If you use Grindhouse 10, you can get some off on your pizza. Jet's Pizza is amazing pizza. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they got some really good pie.
So fans, get out there, get yourself a slice of pizza, go see some Grindhouse Pro Wrestling.
And we're at 1416 Spring Street in Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Yeah, and to contact to get tickets, just go to the website and bell times, or what times are the bell times usually?
Well, for our big shows, if you get our meet and greet VIP tickets, we normally open up the doors at 1:30 for those people. But on our normal day shows, it's 2:30 2 o'clock for the doors and 3 o'clock for bells. But we always will tell everybody, we'll always try to get out our videos and let people know. And Miss Ash will also let everybody know stuff too. She's one of our correspondents. She's doing a very good job for us. She told everybody what was about to happen for our Rumble on our live video. We got a lot of pictures up there from the show, so everybody can go and like it. We'll have some stuff up on our YouTube page here soon for highlights from the show, and can't wait to see everybody there.
Yeah, and make sure you all check out Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at grindhousewrestlingpro.com. There you go. How's that?
All right. And if you got dreams and inspirations of being in the squared circle, contact us, and we'll let you live the dream and join the grind and give you all the tools of the trade to be able to do it.
I want to say thank you, James, for coming on the podcast, and you have a good night, my friend. Till next time.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right, fans, you heard it here from Malfy himself. He's ready. Commissioner Malfy, go say hello to him at a show. He's one of those guys, he wants to make you watch professional wrestling. Like, enjoy it for what it is. All the stars and all the young talent that comes into the Grindhouse Pro Wrestling Academy as well. That's what I was going to ask him about the academy. He said yes, but you know what? These stars, future stars, are young talents, new talents, want to be seen and heard, and heard on the microphone, as in promo wise. That's what I meant. But to see them do their thing inside the ring and be where they are today and be seen all over the world, you never know where they'll show up. Thank you, fans, for listening to another episode of the Deathmatch Wrestle podcast. But fans, make sure you tune in this Wednesday night. This Wednesday night at 8 p.m. I'm going to be 8 p.m. on the Deathmatch Wrestle podcast. I will be joined by my co-host of the night, Everett Lee of the Everett Lee Show, and our guests of the evening, for Titan Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions, PJ Savage and Ransom, members of Team Takeover, as they will be facing Chris Bradley, Chris Bradley, and Ross for the Titan Tag Team titles February 12th at the Adrenaline Sports Academy in Toms River, New Jersey. Bell time is at, I believe, 6 p.m. Bell time is, doors open at 6 p.m., bell time at 7 p.m. We're going to be honoring the great, the event is called Monster Among Men. TCW presents Monster Among Men, as we're going to be honoring 25 years celebration and honoring one half of the heavy hitters of Jersey All-Pro vet Steve Monster Mack. And he'll be in action as well, and many other talents as well. And fans, catch me February, what date? I got so many things coming up, it's not even funny. Catch me February 4th. Friday night, February 4th, with my guest, the Reverend Ronnie Roberts will be on the podcast. We'll be talking to him and much more. Fans, I want to say thank you for listening to the Deathmatch Wrestle podcast. And have a good night, everybody. Till next time, talk wrestling as always. Support professional wrestling, independent wrestling, every kind of wrestling. Good night, everybody. Till then.
You can find more Deathmatch Russell podcasts on the following social media: DeathmatchRussell.com, follow on Twitter at DavidNJ32, and on Facebook, Facebook.com/DJDaveNJ32. Instagram at DavidNJ36. Hey, wrestling fans, I want to mention Collar and Elbow. Collar and Elbow was founded on traditional values of professional wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product intended to connect with people on an emotional level, a symbiotic relationship where one cannot flourish without the other. We strive to create a product that embodies our passion for professional wrestling expressed through street fashion. Visit collarandelbowbrand.com and use the promo code Deathmatch Russell Podcast and save 10% off when you make a purchase. Collar and Elbow, where wrestling passion meets street fashion. Me on Podcast City Network at podcastcity.net, facebook.com/Podcast City Network. Hit the like button and share. And on Twitter at Podcast City Net. Also on Johnner's Wrestling Podcast Network, www.wrestlingwithjohners.com. You can hear Deathmatch Russell Podcast on Stitcher Radio and on iTunes.